I can't help it that I look good, smell good, woo, can dance all night long. But the crew runs to the top, oh yeah. You've been talking to the apes and the giraffes and chimpanzees again, haven't you? Yes, I'm excited!
All right. Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Fast Freddie Rocks Youngstown, coming to you from the beautiful state-of-the-art studios here in beautiful downtown Youngstown, the Youngstown Studios. And we're going to have some fun tonight. I got my buddy Rajma with me, and whenever Rajma comes in, it's going to be an interesting show, and he's got a ton of stuff coming up to talk about. And we got to talk to Joe here first because come on in here, Joe. We got to talk to you. Because the last time I left here, I thought Joe was making a major lifestyle change.
Right.
And obviously it didn't last that long because as soon as he walked in, he poured us some. What are we drinking here today, Joe? Grab a mic. What are we drinking?
All right, so we got Rajma is sampling Basil, and that is Basil Hayden's, which is a bourbon.
Okay.
And then you have a rye bourbon that is Sazerac.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about this, or maybe we'll talk to Dr. Sue a little bit. We'll know more about this. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. We'll be talking bourbon with her and Woofstock coming up. We got a big charity event coming up on Saturday that's going to be rocking. So now when I left here the last time, you were making, I thought you were making a permanent major lifestyle change.
I did say May. I put an asterisk next to it.
Oh, okay. All right. See, I took you, you were making me feel guilty because he was drinking 8 cups of espresso a day.
Oh, I know he's a big espresso fan.
And you cut out the espresso
For an entire month.
and you cut out the bourbon.
No bourbon.
And what else did you cut out?
No sugar.
No sugar.
Carbohydrates.
Okay.
Yep.
And what did you achieve from that?
Felt good. Felt good for an entire month. I broke all of those vices. And if I came back to it, it's because I wanted to.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, see, that's mine. Well, why bother breaking them if you're going to come back to them anyways?
Well, now I don't need it. I want it.
Oh, okay.
That's
all
the
right.
difference.
This sounds like a bunch of BS here, but if that's what you say. But you know what? He actually had me thinking about making some major lifestyle changes myself because when he said he was drinking 8 cups of espresso a day, then I thought I got a ways to go here. I only drink like 2. Some days 1, large iced coffee from Dunkin' and, and a shot of espresso. And I thought, man, maybe I'm a little too, and then when he says 8 cups, and he's saying, oh, I'm making a permanent lifestyle change. And then I thought, well, I'm only at 1 cup.
You got a long way to
go. Yeah. It's
we had a whole health segment on it where then at the very end, a PSA that we think everybody should drink 8 cups of espresso and do cocaine every day.
Right. Well, if you're not jittery, how do you know it's working?
Well, here's to your 1 month sobriety.
Well,
yeah. Well, it's over now, right? Hey, congratulations on that whole
But
month.
I'll tell you, all this week I had 2 cups of coffee. And today's only Monday, so we're good.
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you just ended. It just ended?
Yeah. So I've had 2 cups since then.
Oh, okay.
So I'm good.
All right. That sounds good. Yeah. That sounds good. All right. Yeah, I'm on like a kind of a court-ordered physical fitness thing here. Nice. The insurance company at work was like, okay, dude, they have this stuff now that you have to have a health coach and you got to take your blood pressure every day and it's hooked up right to their computer. And so when you got to step on the scale every day.
Really?
And then they have this app and you got to write down the food that you eat. And,
That sounds a little 1984 to me.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I don't even know what sounds like 1984 now, though. Everything that has become real since then. It's like, okay, what else could happen next? But
so are you feeling better?
I only been doing this for a month.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah. I got a ways to go. But when you do what we do and you're around bars and stuff and everything, every place we work, it's like, bad food and everything else, so, and somebody's always putting a drink in your hand.
Absolutely.
And you got to be hospitable.
Absolutely.
I mean, if say somebody comes all the way from Newcastle to see me to bike night, say they come all the way out to Austintown or Warren somewhere and go, that's Freddie, you're my man. I rode all the way here from Newcastle just to drink a beer with you. What are you supposed to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the wagon.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My insurance company won't let me do this, sir. That was nice of you to ask.
Right.
But if you'd like to just get me a refreshing ice water with a little shot of lemon in there. Yeah, if you could do that for me, and then right.
Awesome.
It just doesn't work that way.
No.
It just doesn't work that way. So I just got back from Florida, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm completely grateful that you hopped on a plane, rode through a storm just for this interview.
Right. Through a hurricane. I got up at 4:00 this morning, Rama. I got up at 4:00 this morning to get on a plane in a hurricane just to get here, because that's how big and important this whole show is to me.
That is dedication.
But the weather was kind of weird. It wasn't like really just blowing everything away, because I was in like Tampa, Clearwater.
Right. Yeah.
So it was still like maybe I think like 100 miles to the east, or to the west, out in it was still out in the ocean. Then it was going to come up there and then hit like Tallahassee and that, which I think it did later today. Because once I got back, I didn't even care anymore.
Right.
It was like, okay, it was past me, but it was really weird because it was really dark and the rain was really heavy.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because where I was at, there was no flooding. There was nothing like that. But other places, there was like flooding and stuff like on the other side of town.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying, oh, this freeway got washed out and things like that. But yeah, it was, I think what it is about that is it keeps you on edge, because you're watching this every moment. Like, okay, if it veers just,
right.
And it looks like it's going to go here, but, then they have those little different paths that it's going to take. And of course, there's always one that's going to go right where you're sitting, right in your living room. This one is going to come into your living room.
What time was your flight?
6 o'clock.
Oh, so you got up early.
Yeah, I had to be there at 4. And then I started watching that movie, The Irishman.
Yeah.
With Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci and all them, by Jimmy Hoffa. So the bad part about that is I started watching that at about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and it's a 3-hour movie. So it was pretty much, I watched the movie, I took a shower, and I got in the car and went to the airport. It was about what happened.
So you need some espresso right now.
You know what? I probably could use the espresso more than the rye whiskey, to tell you the truth.
Right.
I could probably use a little more of that, But but it was really kind of crazy, and it was really hot though too. That's the thing, you see this wind like blowing. You think around here, if it's dark and it's wind blowing and there's a storm, you think you're going to go outside and you're going to freeze your ass off, And I walked out there and it was like 85 degrees at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Not someplace you want to retire?
Yeah. You know what? Or half and half, half and half.
All right. Winter's down there.
Yeah.
Summer's up here.
I think that's, what? That is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Go down there from like November, Thanksgiving to St. Patty's Day, a little bit after.
There you go.
And, because around here, summers are still nice, and we got great fishing in Lake Erie and Geneva. And I think we got a lot of better motorcycle riding roads too. Absolutely. Down there, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It seems like even to get anywhere, you're on, 12 lanes, every road like 224 is,
stop.
8-10 lanes. And it's just crazy. And, it's like, I don't know if I like to be on a motorcycle on that, No. I'd rather be riding on some back roads and stuff.
We have
and
great country roads here
hills and stuff. Everything down there is flat. And, so that's why I think it'd be nice to do both. But we'll see what happens.
Cool.
We'll see what happens. What else is going on? You see, they're knocking the building down here.
Oh, so I have a story about that.
Okay. All
right. Yeah. So the day that happened, I was actually called in for jury duty.
There we go. Yeah, go ahead.
So I was called in for jury duty at the federal court, which is the building almost right next door to that.
Yeah.
And we were just getting ready to take a break during, choosing a jury. And I walked out of the courtroom and everybody is just up against the window of the federal court building, and everybody's like, what happened? And they're like, there was just a huge explosion. So, I mean, it shook the building.
Yeah.
And they were like, nobody leaves the building, because you're in the middle of getting picked for jury duty.
Yeah.
And so they made us all go back to the juror room, and we're sitting there, and then like 10 minutes later, they're like, everybody out of the building now. So it was like from, hey, don't leave, to okay, get as far away from this building as you possibly can. And we walked outside. I mean, there was still smoke coming out.
Fire trucks.
They had just started taping off downtown.
Wow.
And I walked around the corner right there. I took a couple pictures of it because we didn't really know what happened.
Yeah.
It had just happened. So everybody was coming out of the building. They were evacuating everybody, and they were just telling people to leave. Like, these poor people were coming out of the building. They had no place to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that. Somebody says, get out of your home and get away from it. Where are you going to go? If you don't have a car or anything.
Yeah.
So,
and some of these people are disabled and low income.
Yeah. So they made us go to our car. I drove home, and then that's when I found out it was the gas leak.
See, that's the thing these days too. If an explosion goes off, especially you're in a federal building, you don't know what that could be. It could be anything in this day and age.
Exactly.
And that's what I thought too. It's like, okay, well, what happened there?
Yeah.
But what's crazy? They have 2 cranes there now. This building was supposed to be, nobody could go in there and get your stuff. Nobody could go there. It's going to fall over in any second. They have 2 huge cranes with giant wrecking balls beating this building, and it's not even budging.
No,
it's not even budging. And then how about the demolition guys took all the people's stuff that was in the building? Did you see that?
I heard about that.
I don't know exactly what the details are, but it just sounds bad.
It sounds really bad.
There might be something more to it, but from what I've seen just here and there, and if it's on the internet, somebody got to post something on there. But it's like there was something in the law that since they bought the building, they get all the stuff inside, and these guys were loading up cars and stuff with all the people's shit.
I don't know how that works.
Me either. But
crazy.
I see Dave Beatrice is on the case.
That's right.
Somebody's going to pay. Somebody's going to pay something. Something's going to happen. Hey, Dr. Sue wants to call in. Yes, Dr. Sue, why don't you give us a buzz here? And then we'll get the show going and talk about everything that we've got coming up, because you got a lot of stuff. I got
a new album coming out.
Yeah.
Got Woofstock.
Yeah.
And then the Graphic Pink reunion.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot going on this month.
Yeah, that's a big month for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Sue, if you want to give us a buzz, I can never remember what the number is here. Hey Joe, what's the number? Wait a minute. I think it says on our little on the picture of us online.
Let's see.
Okay. Hold on, Dr. Sue. We'll get you the number here. Where's Joe at? Hey, Joe, we need you. Hey, my buddy Paul Mavrikis always checking in. My brother Greek. He's down there in San Diego.
Oh.
He says, I got to come out there. He says, that place is beautiful. I got to hurry up, man. Could you?
330.
Okay. Do you have? Wait. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. It is 330-595-1600. 330-595-1600. All right. You know what? Do you know Dr. Sue's number off the top of your head?
I can get it for you.
Okay. Yeah. Send it to me and then I'll send her this number. This is how we do it. This is like the behind the scenes thing that just unfolds right before your eyes. We give you that little look behind the curtain.
It's all off the cuff.
Let's see. Chris is checking in. Hi, Chris. Rosemary checking in today. Good to hear from you as well.
So I'll just show you that right there.
Okay.
That's her number. I don't want to say it over the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hold on here. Let me see. Oh, wait a minute. I know what I'll do. I don't know what I'll do. Okay. I'm going to forward this. I'm going to forward this. Uh-oh. Now I'm hearing us somewhere.
You're hearing it. I'm hearing it.
There she
Oh, you're here. Okay. Dr. Sue,
here.
how are you?
I'm hearing it.
Oh, you're here. Okay.
Okay, you got. I think you got to turn down your radio there.
Oh, you're here. Okay.
Yeah, I just realized that. I'm like, why is there feedback, idiot?
Yeah, you have to turn that down.
Your monitor's too hot, Sue.
Yeah. Well, we got Rama here. He knows all about this kind of stuff here. And you think Joe would be more on the ball than he is. You know, the guy owns the studio. He's got all this nice stuff here. You'd think he would be a little bit more on the ball. But, you know, what are you going to do? The price is right.
Yeah,
the price is right. So, Dr. Sue Wilcox, how you doing? What's going on?
Hey, Freddie, how you doing? I'm glad to see you made it home safe and sound.
Yeah, me too. I'll tell you what, it was kind of crazy, but I think it could have been a lot worse. You know, maybe I was hoping for a little more adventure or something, you know, something a little more crazy, you know, some flying coconuts or something like that. But, you know, fortunately we didn't have that. So anyways, you got a big event, an annual event coming up this Saturday over at Tiffany Manor in Brookfield. And Rama once again is going to be a part of it, and I'm going to try my best to come on out because this is going to be a great show and a great cause. So why don't you tell us about Woofstock 7 here coming up this Saturday night?
Yeah, so we have Steel Valley Woofstock 7, which is Saturday, August 10th over at Tiffany Banquet Hall in Brookfield, Ohio. Doors open at 5, and you can buy your tickets online in advance still at steelvalleywoofstock.org, or you can go to Facebook and it'll get you to the link. And we have some great entertainment. We have a killer basket auction and some rock and roll memorabilia. Our opening act is a band called the Steel Valley All-Stars, featuring somebody named Rajma.
Never heard of him. Is he any good?
Yeah.
Is he any good?
He already sucks.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And we also have Dennis Drummond coming up from Nashville. Absolutely love Dennis. And you put him and Rama up on the stage, and there's some magic going to happen. And then we have Butch and Bill backing them up. And then our headliner that night is Red Wanting Blue.
Oh, boy.
Very excited about that. Those guys have been phenomenal to work with. And I think it's going to be a great show for that. But it's a show for a party with a purpose, as you know. Steel Valley Woofstock is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, and we try to keep the money locally here in the community to help the smaller rescues. You know, the guys that are out there doing a great job, they don't have a big old building or staff to support, but they're out there busting their butt doing a good job. And so we try to help those guys out. And then we also try to get these spay-neuter programs, grants, so we can get animals spayed and neutered so they don't end up in the shelters and the pounds and the rescues. So that's what it's all about and how we do that. You know, is this one of our events, the Woofstock is. We have a basket auction that I will tell you, Freddie, it is off the hook this year. I mean, off the hook.
I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine that because you usually have these great baskets to begin with. So you've taken that to the next level.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Red Wanting Blue just released their album. It's called Light It Up. You're going to notice a little bit of a Light It Up theme this year. Some cool stuff. And there's probably over 100 baskets on the main table worth $100 or more. And then we have 7 baskets that cost $5 a ticket, but you might win some really cool stuff like, you don't know, maybe a signed drumhead by Journey. You know? Then there's the $20 baskets, which everybody loves because there's a lot of boozy baskets. Buffalo Trace, including some Blantons in that one. I sacrificed the Blantons.
Get out of here.
Woodford Reserve. There's some big bourbon that you can only get in Kentucky. I have hauled home. And then Bonsai's favorite thing, the big bonsai basket that has over $1,000 worth of dog toys and treats. And then my other favorite part, the rock and roll memorabilia silent auction. And we have some phenomenal stuff. I mean, signed by Guns N' Roses, David Grohl. We have some Star Wars posters. We have a Godfather poster. There's some Van Halen stuff there, Ringo Starr.
And all this stuff is signed.
We also
right?
have
all that stuff is signed, right, Sue?
It's all signed with the COAs. One of the favorite pieces I have there is oh God, my brain just stopped. I hate it when that happens. We have a giant barrel of Red, White, and Blue memorabilia and a big wall art poster and a nice Breed Love acoustic electric guitar that I got down at my friends at Hubbard Music helped me get. And whoever wins that auction, Red, White, and Blue, will sign that guitar for them at the end of the night. So it's going to be pretty cool. Oh, I remember I have a piece in there. It's a Stella Parlor guitar with some history, and it is signed by Peter, Paul, and Mary and the Everly Brothers. And there's a very interesting story on that. And if it doesn't sell at Woofstock, it's going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, well, let's hear the story behind it. You can't leave us hanging like that. Come on.
Well, the story behind that is, as Rama knows, I have a sickness for acquiring rock and roll memorabilia, and I have a great time curating it. And I saw this guitar online, and I saw who it was signed by, and it was at this little podunk auction. And I'm like, there is no way I'm going to let some hillbilly take that thing home and, desecrate it because it's a pair of, Peter, Paul, and Mary, the Everly Brothers. That's Americana history.
Oh, yeah.
So I bid on it. I won, and we made a road trip, and we went down south of Columbus to Marysville and got it. And the guy that got it, he brought it out of his house. His name is Chuck. He's written a few books on Cleveland Indians baseball and baseball books. He used to be a teacher up that way, a music teacher. He said that this guitar had belonged to his buddy who was a Vietnam veteran. And he had survived Vietnam. And then he came home and he went on he just went around the country for a couple years, just driving around, detoxing probably. And he stopped at their place for a night, and he insisted that they keep this Stella Parlor guitar. And, Stella Parlor guitars are very sought after collectible items. I mean, Kurt Cobain made them super famous because he wrote some material on them, and it was a collectible in his collection. And so Bill, when he went to leave, he insisted that Chuck keep this as a gift, and Chuck didn't want to keep it, but Bill insisted. And when he did that, sadly, a couple of weeks later, Bill was killed in a car accident. So Chuck kept this guitar in the back of a closet for like 20 years. And then he was working at the Lake Chautauqua Institute, where they have the Lucille Ball Festival.
Yeah.
And he was an usher. And Peter, Paul, and Mary and Everly Brothers were playing, and so he wanted to do something, so he grabbed this guitar on a whim and took it there and asked them if they would sign it. And he said he got the first Everly brother to sign it, and the other one didn't want to do it, so he found out the other brother did, and then he signed it. And then he said the guys from Peter, Paul, and Mary signed it, but Mary was recovering from leukemia. And so she was not feeling well. So he finally convinced the manager to let him go in and get her to sign it. So I was able to acquire this, and I was like thrilled beyond pieces. I mean, come on, Puff the Magic Dragon.
Oh yeah, Blowing in the Wind.
Yeah. Come on, those are part of those are my childhood songs. So I was like super excited. And I was able to get it certified by Beckett as authentic.
Wow.
So it's it's a really, truly a unique collectible piece. And if someone that doesn't love it more than I do doesn't snap it up at Woofstock, I've already kind of made a contact for it to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, that would be really awesome. And the story, like you say, here's this guy from Vietnam, and then he hands his guitar to his buddy, and then he meets an unfortunate demise. That is an awesome story.
Yeah, and Chuck, I wrote the story, and Chuck, like a true teacher, graded it and sent it back to me. So that'll be the story will be with it. And I also had Neil from Stella Guitars also sent me a book about Stella guitars and about the history of them, and that he's like the Stella guitar guru. And he was thrilled. And he's the one who actually said, he goes, that belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if you don't find somebody that loves it. And took that suggestion to heart.
Oh, that would be really, really cool if you could do that. I'm kind of hoping nobody buys it. Just goes to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think that would be pretty sweet. That is really awesome. So what time does all the festivities start here? You know, before I get to that, isn't she amazing? Isn't Dr. Sue amazing? Whether we're talking about bourbon or rare guitars or music, she's an expert on all that stuff.
See, this is the thing about Dr. Sue and that's why this event is so great. She gets down into the weeds. She dots all the I's, crosses all the T's when it comes to, you know, the event itself, procuring these things for the event. I mean, yeah. Listen, this is 7 years. This year is going to be the best ever. I know it. We do have great ticket sales. We would love to get more tickets.
Oh, so absolutely. Again,
you know, Steel Valley, Woofstock.org if you can. And Dr. Sue, can you just give us a couple like stories of where the funds that we make for Woofstock actually go?
Yes. And I wanted to say, Rama, I couldn't do Woofstock without you. Listening to my crazy, stupid ideas, I can hear him groaning, you know, across town when I say, "Hey, Rama, I got this idea," and my staff. I mean, and the army of volunteers it takes to do this, and the crazy crap they put up with me. I mean. I'm like, this year we got to build a 7-foot skeleton dog, and they're like, what? so yes, I have enablers.
Right.
So, but what, like I said, I like to focus on trying to help things. What happens, because I do have a vet clinic, we get calls from small rescues that get phone calls for people that need help. And, you know, they're like, hey, this veteran, well, this is one story. The veteran has a dog and it's his best friend, and it broke a canine and it needs to have surgery, but it's like, you know, $1,000. We can't afford to help him, but would you be willing to split the bill with us? And hell yes. You know, I will always say yes to a veteran, keeping a veteran's pet with them, because I know what that is and the sacrifices they've made. So I do have a very big soft spot in my heart for veterans, and trying to help them out. We also will see some of these horrific humane cases online. And, you know, they'll be asking for help. And when we can, we send some money to help pay down those vet bills, because they're often unexpected and they're often outrageous. We were able to send a bunch of food down to the Columbiana Humane Society when the East Palestine train wreck occurred, because they went in and got all those animals safely out of there, but they found themselves a little overwhelmed and needing food and all that. And we were able to get Chewy to deliver a big load of food for us. And then we work with these organizations that, you know, doing spay-neuter programs. And we also do spay-neuter programs because we've been able to get some grants. We have a couple cat ones right now where you can get trap cats done for $15, or regular, you know, house cats done for $24. And another thing that I've been doing, because I have a big soft spot in my heart, because, you know, my mom grew up on the west side there on the corner of Mahoning and Meridian. My aunt used to take us down to the dog pound a lot.
Right. I remember when it was up there.
So we do, and I just kept thinking how sad it was those dogs were in there. And so we do 12 dogs. We were going to do more than that. But we spay and neuter a lot of the dogs for the Mahoning County Dog Pound free of charge, so they can go right to their homes when they get adopted. And we not only spay or neuter them for them, we get them vaccinated, we get them heartworm tested, we get them heartworm prevention, and get them started, you know, on a good preventative medicine package, so that when they go to they can get out and go to their new homes ready to go, giving them a great start. And it's been a very successful program, and I'm very happy to be able to do that for them.
Yeah, you know, you talk about dogs and veterans too. About a month or so ago, we did a little thing with a group called Dogs Inc., and they provide service animals for veterans. And when you heard the stories from these veterans about what these dogs have meant to their lives and have actually saved their lives for a lot of these guys, these service dogs, it turned out to be the thing that they needed in their life to really, you know, keep them from killing themselves. And it's amazing the power of these dogs and you know, the stories that these guys were telling about how these dogs have really changed their lives, and that's a really important thing for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, and a lot of these veterans, you know, they are in unfortunately a low income circumstance, and then they have a pet that has a, you know, a medical crisis, and
right.
you know, you need to get it taken care of, you know, and I just feel really obligated to take care of those things when we can. And hopefully as we go on down the road, I want to take this to a point where we're going to be able to do more for people and animals, and eventually, you know, leave a legacy. Rama knows one of the things that I wanted to do is eventually get a scholarship program for veterinary students to try to get people, because it's so expensive to go to vet school, and, you know, to keep us in the veterinarians coming back to our area to practice. And, you know, that's some long-term planning there, but it's been on the board from the get-go. You know, I kind of still feel like we're getting our wings, because God knows this has been a learning curve and an evolution. And I think every year the evolution gets better and better. And like Rama said, I feel this is going to be our best Woofstock ever. And I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping my fingers crossed that I can make it out there on Saturday too, because I've been to a lot of them, and it's always been a fun event. And you always get some good bands out there. Of course, Rama and Leanne and Dave Drummond, and you know, you've had the Clarks out there, and who are some of the other bands you had out there?
We've had the Lauber Brothers.
Oh yeah,
we've had Dennis. Trying to think of who else we've had.
As long as you mention Rama and Leanne, well, that's
yeah.
You know, those are the only two that really matter out of the whole thing. No, we have had some awesome times out there. And, you know, for people that might not be familiar with Red, Wanting Blue, why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
Well, Red, Wanting Blue started down around the Columbus area. And they've been a touring band since probably about 1996. And they're kind of considered like American rock idol heroes. And these guys are always on the road, all over the place, East Coast to West Coast. And they have quite a following. You know, this album that they have out there now called Light It Up, they did their album release at the West Side Bowl. We were able to go over there to the West Side Bowl. I took Bonsai over there, and they took their picture with them. They were so gracious, so kind, and we really had a good time. But I think this album, I mean, I've listened to, I do my homework with my groups. I've listened to every album they put out, every song that I can get my hands on. I think this Light It Up album is just the best one. I mean, every song, oh man, I like that song. Oh man, I like that song. And they're just some rock gods. And so they're starting their tour up here again on the 7th, I think, up in Michigan. And then they'll be coming down, swooping down for us at Woofstock. And then they're eventually going to end up down in Pittsburgh. And they're playing Pittsburgh before they continue onward. And, you know, their drummer, Dean, he's from the area. And so he had the record shop down there in the Ward building that they just had. And he's quite a character, and he's a very talented musician, as they all are. I mean, my God, they've got some deep talent there, you know. And we also are lucky we have Rama, because Rama is releasing his album too, and it's releasing Friday. So we're going to get to hear some of Rama's original material. And you know, I've known Rama for a very long time, and to watch the progress and the things, and seeing him make music and put it out, and how happy it makes him. And it's just good, solid, salt of the earth music. And his latest one is called Testifying Woman. I like that one, but he knows my favorite one is Be a Star. So I like that one a lot. But, as soon as I hear all the others, oh, I like that one too. So I think that's also a testimony to the great talent. I mean, we have a huge depth of talent and musician in this valley. And we're lucky to have, some of it to grace our stage at Woofstock.
And you know what? Your love for music and your enthusiasm for music is also what helps make this such a great event too, because, you get these bands like the Clarks and all about Rajma and all about Leanne and you're a fan and you're a supporter and you're a little bit beyond that because you're, like an aficionado. So that's what I think also makes this event so good. And it's always interesting to hear you talk because you're down with it,
Yeah. And, best of all, it benefits the animals. And that was the goal from the get-go because our mission was spay neuter is the answer, warehousing animals is not. And we want to focus on helping these smaller rescues and that are out there. They're, like I said, are doing a fantastic job without all the big fancy resources, but they're out there just doing it and getting their hands dirty and being out there and really doing something great for the animals. And those are the people I want to work with and focus. And, we have a lot of rescues and shelters we work with that, we've gotten to know pretty well. And it's just their hearts are made out of gold and they're out there doing a great job, but sometimes they need a little help. And I feel like we've come along as an umbrella organization to help them along. And that was the other thing that interests me. I'm not just going down one road. I'm able to help a lot of people. And that makes me happier to be able to do more to help more animals. And but thank you for the compliment about the music. And I mean, it's something I do. Music, drink bourbon.
And they kind of go together. Isn't that something?
And
music and bourbon go together. How about that?
And I don't know if you know this, but Dr. Sue is a guitar player. Okay. She has a pretty extensive acoustic collection, which is very nice. I've got to go over to her house and see it and play a couple of them. But, my goal is before, let's say, Woofstock 10, we get her on stage.
And maybe you guys could write a song together too.
We could
and you know what? And maybe I'll horn my way in too. We're coming up this, we always talk about, you're going to give me some lessons.
Right.
And I get busy in the summer, but we're going to start early in the fall this time around. So Dr. Sue, who are some of your favorites or what are some of the songs you play? What are some of them that you like to play?
I'm jamming at Twinkle, Twinkle, Had a Little Star, man.
Yeah, come on now. I know you're not stopping for that.
No, I think the first song I taught myself was Duncan Sheik, Barely Breathing. And then the Clarks, Penny on the Floor. I did teach myself a Red Wanting Blue song, Where You Want to Go. I actually taught myself that one on the 12-string. And I'm lucky to have a fantastic little music teacher. His name is Scott down at Hubbard Music, who has tolerated my eccentric taste in music and brought me along with it very, very nicely. I never thought this far down the road that I can play like whole songs and songs I hear on the radio at this point, being a late learner for guitar in life. But I absolutely enjoy it. It's helpful to me as a surgeon to keep my fingers dexterous.
Oh, there you go.
It's also therapeutic for me. Because, I go and Rama's been to the house. It's called the Zen Den. There's a lot of guitars, a lot of bourbon, and there's a lot of vinyl in that room too, a lot of records. I mean, from all walks, and just sit in there and I just play guitar and it's kind of therapeutic for me. And that was another reason to get into playing guitar. And, like right now, I think I'm trying to learn Michael Penn, No Miss. And, some days it gets me and some days it doesn't.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is really awesome. So that's how you lure Rama to your house to get a private concert. I got guitars. I got vinyl. I got bourbon. I see how that works. So what's new in the world of bourbon these days? What's the hot stuff? What are people looking for? What's the cool thing? What's the newest thing? The latest thing? What's going on in the world of bourbon these days?
Well, there's a lot of different things going on. Bourbon's gotten kind of crafty. Everybody's doing these little special blends and mixes and stuff like that. I actually invested in a company called 3 Chord Bourbon. That guy who's married to Pat Benatar, what's his name? Neil?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. It just left me. Yeah. He's the one who founded it. And the bourbon's not too bad. It's some of it, but there's different blends. Like they got a band, Hailstorm. They did their blend, and then Dinosaur Jr. did their blend. Luceros did their blend. They have some more coming out. But there's a bunch of different other newer brands that I've started to like. Penelope. Penelope Architect. I opened up a bottle. Somebody got me here. It's pretty good stuff. I really like that. And then there's, it's a Bottled and Bond. It's a blue bottle. Bill Hart told me about it, and I just got it, and I want to crack that one open. But they only bottle it once a year. There's another one called Blood Oath. Pack number 10 just came out. I really like the Blood Oath for a blended bourbon. But one of the things I was really lucky down the road, we did a little something this past March called Boozy Bingo. And it went over very well. And the top prize was a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle. But we had a lot of other great bourbons in that raffle as well, and some tequilas and some scotch and that. But I was able to recently score a bottle of Stagg, George Stagg bourbon for that. I have never seen one out in the wild. The cheapest I've seen one is about $1,500. But we were able to negotiate and get it down. That I'm so tempted to open that bottle up. I am so tempted. I keep looking at it and going, no, you got to save that for Boozy Bourbon.
We have Rama. He's drinking some Basil Hayden's today. Is that what's that all about? Basil Hayden. You familiar with that one?
Yeah. Yeah, they actually, I have one sitting on the shelf here. It's a toasted Basil Hayden, and I haven't tried that one yet. It was one I picked up when I was down in Lexington. So I haven't cracked that one up. I have a lot of bourbons I need to crack. So, maybe you can, one time, we can come over here. We have this great gazebo back there, and we can sit on the gazebo, shoot the breeze, let Ronald play some guitars for us, and, be entertained.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That would be great.
That would be great.
So for a beginner that wants to drink bourbon, what should they look for? What's a good starter bourbon? You hear about bourbon, and it just seems like since the last time I talked to you a couple of years ago, it has just grown in leaps and bounds, and everywhere you look now, bourbon has become so big. Say somebody just wants to get started into the bourbon field. What's the advice that you give them, or what are some of the things they should try?
I always tell people to start with the tried and true brands, and that's Woodford Reserve. Woodford Reserve will always be my hands down favorite. Double Oak is my real go-to one, but that's a good one. Buffalo Trace, when you can find it. Buffalo Trace is a really good starter bourbon too. Those are the two that I try to tell people to go to. They're easy. Jefferson's is a good bourbon. The Jefferson's Oceans, depending on the voyage, some of them are really good, but the Jefferson Reserve I really like. And I also have a bottle of Jefferson that was in a rum cask. They finished it, and it's actually got a nice little kick flavor to it that I kind of like. But the Jeffersons, the Woodford Reserves, and Buffalo Trace are good starter packs. And then, if you like something that's a little bit more refined for your palate, or you like something that doesn't have the afterburn and that, always go with my favorite, which is Blanton's.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. So Dr. Sue, give us all the rundown here one more time for Woofstock, because we still got to talk about Rama's big project coming out. We got the Graphic Pink reunion coming up. We got a million things here. Right. So give us all the scoop on Woofstock for this Saturday.
So, Steel Valley Woofstock 7, Saturday, August 10th, Tiffany Banquet Hall in Brookfield, Ohio. Doors open at 5. The Steel Valley All-Stars featuring Rajma and Dennis Drummond are opening up for Red Wanting Blue. Tickets can be bought at steelvalleywoofstock.org. They're $50 in advance. If you procrastinate and think you're going to come to the door, you're going to pay $70 if we have any tickets left, which we're hoping we'll get a sellout show. But not only are you going to get great music, you're going to get great food. There's dessert, all the non-alcoholic beverages. There is a cash bar, but we also have a phenomenal basket raffle and a rock and roll memorabilia and 50/50. And everybody that comes becomes a fan. Everybody loves it. We have a lot of people that look forward to coming to this event every year.
And of course, we're helping out the animals too, which is really the main part of this whole thing.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Dr. Sue, I hope I can make it out on Saturday. I am going to try my best, and I would love to come out here, and help you guys out as always, and when I can. And it's going to be a great party. And just to see Rajma and just to see Red Wanting Blue alone, that's going to be well worth it,
Yes, and I hope so, because I think we might have a little bit of magic at the end of the night, because, Dennis used to play with, Haas and the Juggernauts, and Dean used to drum for him. So you never know what can happen, because Big Haas showed up last year, and him and Dennis and Rajma did this incredible get by with a little help from my friends. And I don't think there was a dry seat in the house. I had goosebumps the entire time, because the vocals and the harmonies on that were just, it was insane. And there's nothing like live music to bring that emotion out of you like that did. It was a phenomenal night.
Hey, just to see those three talented guys on stage together, that in itself would make the night, really.
Oh yeah. All right.
All right, Dr. Sue.
Thank you, Freddie, for having me on.
Hey, definitely. It's going to be a great party. It's going to be for a great cause. It's coming up this Saturday night. We'll give you some more, plugs on the radio here. And this is just going to be an awesome night and an awesome party. So we'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Thanks, Freddie.
Hey, thank you. There you go.
All right.
Dr. Sue Wilcox, one of my favorite people out there.
Right.
She is always so interesting. You know that? Music and bourbon, and she's just a great person.
She is.
Now let's start talking about Rajma. We forgot all about you.
It's all right.
Hey, but you know what? You've been down here kissing up with all these guys at the Youngstown studio. You finally get to me last in line, but that's all right. But that's okay. So you're working on a brand new project. You got new music coming out on Friday. So let's start with that, and then we'll talk. Let's get the Graphic Pink reunion too. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
All right. Here's what we're going to talk to Rajma about. So nobody go anywhere. We're going to talk about his new music coming out on Friday, and then we'll talk about the Graphic Pink reunion coming to the Lube and Sharon. That's going to be fun.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll take it from there. So let's start with the new music.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm glad Dr. Sue called in, because Woofstock, that was a big part of what I really wanted to talk about, and she knows the details a lot better than I. But yeah, so new album. As you know, I've been on here before. We've played a couple of the tunes when I first started on this journey.
Yeah,
about 2 years ago. A couple years ago, how this all started was, I've gotten to play with a lot of amazing musicians over my lifetime, right? I've gotten to write songs with musicians and record songs with musicians. And, even at the major label, level. But I never, ever had any of my own music. And a couple years ago, my dad passed away, and it just kind of starts to make you think, hey, there is an end to this, So I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna write some stuff for myself. I'm not gonna put it out there. Just gonna write some music and record it. And recorded my first song. By the way, went to Court Street Recording, which is in Canfield. Have to talk about Mike Estick. Mike Estick owns Court Street Recording. He was an engineer at Sony in Nashville for a long time. Worked his way up to actually produce albums at Sony, and just kind of got disenfranchised with the whole industry. Had family up here, had a son, decided he wanted his son to grow up around, his family. Moved to Canfield and opened up Court Street Recording. And I'd done some work there previously. Called him up and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing some songs." He's like, "Yeah, absolutely. Come on in." And I wanted to do these songs by myself. I know a lot of amazing musicians that I could have called and said, "Hey, would you like to play on this song? Would you like to do this?" But really, this was kind of a journey I wanted to do by myself. So decided I was going to play all the instruments. I don't play drums. Mike plays drums. And he's kind of like a musical genius. He really is. He plays everything. You put an instrument in his hand and he can play it. So between Mike and I, we recorded the first song, and I was very happy with it. I let my family listen to it. I let some friends, and they're like, you should really put this out. So that was kind of the journey, like I said, I had a couple songs out last time I was here,
right?
And we listened to some of it, but we're at the end of this first journey. I have 10 songs. So along with the album coming out on Friday, song number 10 is coming out, which is called The Situation. So I'm kind of launching the song and the album all at the same time, the last song.
Yeah.
There is a bonus track on the album that I recorded. It was a favorite song of my mom and dad, and it's Stevie Ray Vaughan's Life by the Drop.
Oh, that is a good one.
So I remade that in the studio, and that's actually a bonus track that you can only get on the actual CDs.
Uh-huh.
So I actually did have CDs made, which was funny because when I was in here before, I told Joe, I said, I made CDs. Like, who has a CD player anymore? He's like, yeah, I don't own a CD player. But
yeah,
people of our generation, we still
and you know what? I still like CDs.
Yeah.
I still love CDs. I really do. And I have a CD player, and
I still have one in my car.
And my albums, were beat to shit, because I used them to play in bars and stuff. So
yes,
and then when CDs come out, I thought that was the greatest thing. So instead of like lugging in 15 milk crates of records, I only had to carry in like 5 milk crates of CDs. And then remember when they first come out, they were like, "Oh, these are destructible. There's never anything that would happen." A guy would beat on it with a hammer and stuff. And then like a month afterwards, you spill a drink on it, you get a big scratch. And remember, people were trying to put like a nail polish on there or something. There was a couple of different try to fix it at home type scenarios. But I think some people are a little disappointed at the promise of these things being so indestructible that nothing would ever happen to them. But that wasn't the case. But I'm a big fan of CDs. And remember when they first come out, you can only buy them in certain stores.
Oh yeah.
And that have like some of these rare ones and be like, I remember when when CD 106 first come on, and we were actually buying these CDs at places wherever we could find them.
Okay.
And I can remember there was a little place up on Market Street in Boardman, and over across the street from the Sparkle Market. And I mean, some of that stuff they had locked away in the case,
right.
They weren't even letting you see it. And I can remember paying like $120 for Queen's News of the World. That's how rare that CD was at the time,
And even CD players back then.
Oh yeah.
Like $500 for a CD player back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, I decided to make some CDs. So I'll have some CDs. I also made these really cool, they're flash drives, and that's the way they're doing them now. They're a business size flash card.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And people can buy that, and they can either listen to it right off of the flash drive, or they can download it and have it on their computer.
What a great idea.
Or on their phone. So so I have flash drives. Also made some stickers and some t-shirts just to kind of promote everything and kind of round it out. So August 9th, this Friday, the album comes out with the single. As Dr. Sue mentioned, the single Testifying Woman, which is really kind of my ode to, the blues and Stevie Ray and Kenny Wayne.
Okay, so some of the songs are like that, or is it all bluesy, or is it all, what do you got going on here?
Yeah, great question. So when I started actually writing songs for this, I didn't have a genre in mind. And just to kind of force myself to be a little more creative, what I would do is I would kind of just write an idea for a song and go in the studio without it done. And, you know, the great thing about Mike Ian Court Street is that he is very, he's so creative that he's like, yeah, just bring in the idea. We'll figure it out, you know? And we got to the point of where the process was, I would bring in the song and it might take a completely different direction than what I had envisioned in my head,
right?
Which was great. And what that has done is create an album with all kinds of different genres on it. So, you know, there's like a country rock tune and there's a rock tune and there's a couple blues songs and there's some easy listening stuff. So I'm pretty happy with that. And the really cool thing about it is sometimes, you know, you'll write a song and you put out a song and you hear artists say it all the time. Oh, this song is really kind of like a B-side. You know, you've heard artists say that.
Right.
And Dr. Sue's favorite song in my mind was kind of like, I really like this song, but I think it's a B-side.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear what people's favorite songs are. Because it's, you know, not what you would think.
Right. I love stories like that too. You know, I mean, even with a lot of major artists, you know, the producer or the record company will come in and say, or like the Black Crowes, do Hard to Handle and we'll throw it out there.
Right.
And I'm not doing no cover song. And, you know, and then it turns out to be their biggest song. Or, you know, there are songs out there that maybe somebody else has this different set of ears.
Yeah.
That you know, and there's a million songs out there where a guy was like, they wanted me to do it, and it's the last thing I wanted to do, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's off the charts.
Then we needed one more song, so we just threw this song together.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they can buy 3 houses off that one song.
Right. The one that just pops into my mind like that is Black Sabbath with Paranoid. They needed one more song, and they put this 2-minute song on there, and then all of a sudden, it's like boom!
It
to this day, you know. It's crazy on how that works.
Yeah.
So what inspires you to write these songs? How do you write your songs? What's your thing?
There's a couple different avenues. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm just such a fan of a lot of different styles of music, and it's fun to kind of listen back to a song and go, oh, I hear a little bit of that influence in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that there are certain artists or certain songs that subconsciously, as you're writing something and you go, oh, that sounds really cool, or it sounds familiar, you know, and really what you're doing is you're kind of just taking those influences or something that they've played before and twisting it into kind of like your own thing. You know what I mean? Most of my songs start off with like guitar riffs or ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Only one of the songs started off with lyrics first, because I know that people will ask that question sometimes.
Yeah, right.
You know, but it's a process, and when it happens and after you hear the song, it's almost like I didn't really write that song. That song just kind of comes through you.
Right. You hear that all the time from all songwriters. It's like, I don't know where that song come from. And I say, well, where did that go? Or sometimes some of these guys with their biggest songs, they might've wrote in 10 minutes.
Yep.
You know, you just sit down. Does that happen to you too? Where you just sit down and then you just go, and then you're like,
yes.
Oh, that's done.
Yes.
You know, where one line just comes right after the next, and it just all falls in place. And you're sitting there going, where did that come from?
There's a song, it's a slower song on the album. It's called You're Free, you know, and it's really about if you've lost somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and it was really strange. I sat down with my guitar and I played this chord, and it's a chord I had never played before.
Uh-huh.
Like my fingers just went there,
and
I strummed this chord. The whole song came out of that one chord.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And in like 15 minutes, the song was done.
Yeah.
You know.
So
it's really crazy. The other thing that I do have to mention though on the album is, so not only do we have Michael Estick, who engineered and co-produced all the songs, but I do have to mention, and I'm just not trying to drop names here, but Lee Turner, who is the keyboard player for Darius Rucker, he played on a couple of my songs as well, because he's very good friends with Mike.
Yeah.
And when we needed some really heavy duty keyboard stuff, you know, Mike was like, let's just call Lee and we'll ship it down to Nashville and he can lay it down for us. So, and then also through Mike, the guy who mastered the entire album, his name is Dan Millis. he just won another Grammy this year. He's won several Grammys and an Emmy for his mastering.
Wow.
So, I was very fortunate to meet these guys, and connect with them and have them also be a part of the album.
And it's so cool that you could do this stuff in Youngstown, in Canfield, in our area.
Oh,
It's really cool that he decided to come back here, and it's just like, hey, what, we could do something here. We could make something happen.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm super happy with the album. If you guys do want any of the info, I do have a music site that I put up. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Rajma, but it's spelled Rajma. The J is silent. So I was actually fortunate enough to get the domain name raj.ma.
Oh, okay.
So that's the website. I have all my information on there.
Yeah.
You'll be able to buy all the stuff on there soon, but we're really going to do a release at Woofstock. You'll be able to buy, CDs and the flash drives and the swag at Woofstock. So, I'm super excited about it.
So you and Dave Drummond got anything?
Dennis?
Dennis, rather. I'm sorry, Dennis. So you and Dennis have anything worked out, or some kind of surprises? For people that don't know Dennis, why don't you introduce him as well?
Yeah, so let me introduce the band from Woofstock as well, because these are all guys that I have known for years and years and years. So Dennis Drummond is originally from the Warren area. He started coming out and jamming with my band Triple Threat when he was 13, and was just a natural. You know what I mean? By the time he was 15, 16, he was killing everybody. So he decided he went to Berkeley, then he went to Nashville. He's played on several big artists' albums and toured with them. He's on tour right now with an artist. He was also on season 13 of The Voice.
I remember that.
And he didn't win, but he made it pretty far. And so Dennis Dennis says I'm like an uncle that he never had. I would rather say brother, but
right.
Older brother.
Yeah.
But no, but I love Dennis. I went to Nashville this summer to see Dennis, and he actually made me play a show with him down there in Nashville.
Oh, that'd be badass.
Oh my God. It was awesome. So Dennis comes up every year. He gets busier and busier, but he puts this on his calendar. He comes up, and hopefully if you can make it out, you'll be just as amazed as I am standing on stage playing with Dennis. That's really how good he is. Also in the band, I've had a band now. I can't believe 26 years I've been with Triple Threat, and Butch is the bass player in Triple Threat. He's also going to be the bass player in the All-Star band.
Butch is there. I got to be there then.
Oh yeah, you got to be there. Butch is there. And then actually, so a guy I went to high school with, believe it or not, his name is Bill Reed, and he is in a local band called 7% Superstar. And those guys,
they're a fun band.
Yeah. And they've been around for a very long time too. So Bill is going to play drums. So it's going to be the four of us. And as Dr. Sue mentioned, there could be a couple special guests at Woofstock. But that's the band. That's the All-Stars this year. Great.
Yeah, I got to do whatever in my power to be there, because this is going to be a party. This is going to be jamming. So where will people be? You got your website.
Yep. So people will be able to buy on raj.ma is the website. Obviously, I play a lot of shows with Triple Threat.
Yeah.
So I'll always have some out with me, And the really cool thing about Triple Threat is, these guys are so gracious. Gary DePasquale is the drummer in Triple Threat. We're a power, 3-piece blues rock band. If you're into that kind of stuff, please come check us out. But they were so gracious. I gave them copies of the songs as I was doing them, and they came to me and they're like, we have to do some of these live. So I actually do some of my own originals.
Oh, that is awesome.
Which is great.
Yeah.
We pepper them in here. We don't do a whole night.
Yeah. You know what? That's the way you got to do it. I think, even I look back all the way to the day of like Left End and stuff like that. They were perfect at mixing their originals in there with the covers and stuff. And I think sometimes that might be a mistake that some bands make. And I get the whole thing. This is my sound. This is what I want to do. But if you do it carefully and have a little bit of patience, I think sometimes you'll get a little further.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I see some bands that do that, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's not like it doesn't jar them or whatever. Now, of course, there are certain places like West Side Bowl where people flock to that, you know, Royal Oaks or, you know, absolutely, and things like that, where there is an audience out there. But if you're trying to make a couple bucks, you know, I mean, if you want to play at, like, you know, where all the different places that Triple Threat plays, or whether you're playing a biker party or something,
right,
you know, there's still that you got to get the people what they know, but then you work your stuff in there, and you're patient with it, and that's how I think people should do it. And, you know, like I say, I understand both ways. You know, I mean, if you're you know, I don't know what they call it now, because, you know, an alternative band, or, you know, back in the day, if that was the term or whatever, you know, indie rock band. If you're an indie rock band and you're playing at these places, but unfortunately, there's not that many places out there that you could play. So if you still want to make some money and play in a band, if you work it that way, then all of a sudden, you know, okay, so you played a couple of popular songs, then you throw yours in, and they know you're going to play something else, you know, whatever, you know, whatever's in your repertoire. Well, I know what your songs are, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I think that's a really good way to do it.
And how I normally do it is I'll actually play the original without saying it's original until after it's over.
Yeah.
Because people, you know, play a song, go into an original song, you know, people are like, oh, that's okay. That's kind of catchy. You can dance to that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, I wonder who that is. And then after the song's over, if you throw it out there, oh, by the way, that's my original, and you can listen to it on any streaming, you know.
Right.
I think it piques their interest just a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see who's checking in with us here.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to say hi to Tracy Randall. Hi, Tracy. Gary Jones checking in. Debbie Horvath, Hurricane Debbie checking in today. Paul Scourin has some nice words to say. Our buddy Hogs is checking in. And those are some of the people that are checking in here today. So now let's move on to the Graphic Pink reunion. Now, first of all, for people that don't know about Graphic Pink, explain the whole history of Graphic Pink, and then we'll get to when the reunion's coming up.
Sure. So Graphic Pink was actually the first band that I joined when I moved to Youngstown. I'm originally from down around the Negley Rogers area. Came up here to Youngstown. Graphic Pink had been around for a couple years. They started in the mid 80s. All the guys are out of Hubbard. And their singer was leaving, and they needed a new singer. So just by happenstance, I got to go rehearse with them. They liked what I did. I joined the band, and then we immediately decided that we were going to turn this. It literally was a business. We were incorporated. So the band was incorporated. We played Columbus. We played Cleveland. We played Pittsburgh, Greensburg, West Virginia. I mean, in the summertime, it wasn't uncommon for us to play 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
You know, and travel and do that. Now, we were a cover band. We were not an original band.
Right. Now, what were some of the songs you were playing back then?
Oh, geez. Everything from like In Excess and Billy Idol to, you know, if it was a hit and it was on the radio and it was more rock, we were playing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like our job, it being in the business, was to make sure that we got people up on the dance floor. And you remember the 90s.
Sure.
I mean, there were so many clubs that you could play. I mean, I remember playing Thursday night at either the Park Inn or the Magic Twanger to 1,500 people.
Yeah.
That's how big the scene used to be back in the day.
Right.
So Graphic Pink was, you know, we were one of the bands in Youngstown who had a great following, got to play. And I was with them, I think, from 90 to about 98.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So that lasted that long, 8 years.
Yeah. I mean, for what it was, and at the time that it was, you know, it was great, and it was very successful. It was very successful.
And when you look at the scene, like you're talking about Magic Twanger, you're talking about Park Inn. I mean, those were jamming places.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were happening. I don't think we have too many places around here that jump like that anymore.
Unfortunately, no.
You know?
I just, the music scene, the late 80s, early 90s was a great music scene.
Oh, it was
back in the day.
Yep.
So how this all came about was, I was sitting around the holidays last year, right? Had some friends over, started talking about old times. My friend Jennifer, I'll mention Jennifer, was there. And, we were just talking about all the great times with Graphic Pink. We're sitting around having a couple cocktails, and I pulled out my phone and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I put a text together with all the guys in the band.
Yeah.
And all I said was Graphic Pink reunion 2024, who's in? And like within 2 hours, they're all like, oh yeah, I'm in. So it was like, okay, well now we got to start planning this. So, just so you know, Graphic Pink was myself, Mark Terabassi, who used to own Hubbard Music back in the day. He also plays in a local band called Five Deep now.
Yep.
And for 2 or 3 years, I think, or maybe 4, was the drummer for Donnie Iris. So, I mean, the guy's got some chops.
Yep.
He now owns several international drum companies, so he's doing really, really well. Also was Brian Campbell, who was the guitar player. He also still plays now and again with some local bands. So we're all trying to keep our chops up. And then Dave Markowski, I believe, is Gary's cousin. That's how it is. So Dave Markowski is the bass player, and he lives in South Carolina, but he's coming up for the show.
Oh, you got to.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be the 4 guys from the 90s. It's all original members. And just to add to Dave's resume there a little bit, I don't know if you knew this, but he was the bass player for what's the band that did Crazy Bitch?
Oh, Buck Cherry.
Buck Cherry.
Yeah,
he was the bass player for a couple years for Buck Cherry. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah. So all of these guys can play. We're excited. Mark, Brian, and I have been rehearsing for about the last 3 months.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We have been rehearsing.
Oh, so this is really going to be.
Oh, this is going to be a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is.
Yeah.
We wanted this to feel not only like you were back in the bar in 1994.
Yeah.
But that it was almost like a show as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're going to do 2 big sets. With all of your favorite songs that we used to play. Well, hopefully, we played hundreds of songs.
Right.
So we hope the songs that we
but everything you guys played were hits. So you're nobody's going to be disappointed.
Right. Exactly. And just so you know, so the details of the show, we were trying to find a venue, just pick the best venue. And we were really having a hard time. And through the grapevine, the manager of Quaker Steak and Lube in Sharon found out and actually contacted us and said, hey, we would love to have you, because that was one of our places to play.
Yeah.
We played all 3 buildings.
Yeah.
The Lube, Tully's, back in the day when it was Hot Rod.
Yeah.
Before that, was Seafood Express.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so
that's one place. The Lube in its heyday was just unbelievable. Oh yeah. I mean, 3 by the River was just like. Yep. That was the place to go, period.
Absolutely.
That place just used to jam so bad.
So she came to us and she said, hey, listen, we're having our 50th anniversary this year. Why don't we just put them together? They actually wanted to do it in July. And unfortunately, we couldn't get all together. So they actually postponed their 50th just to work it out around us.
And so what day is this coming up?
August 24th.
August 24th.
At the Quaker Steak and Lube in Sharon.
I know I got something that day too.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's all right.
Damn it.
It's okay.
You should have moved it to September. It should have been in the fall.
Well, yeah, but so here was the reasoning behind that.
Okay.
We wanted to do it on a date that didn't interfere with the festivals and the fairs. But we also didn't want it to interfere with football. What
people don't that people don't realize when you're planning things in the Youngstown area, you have got to take high school football into consideration. It is a deal breaker.
It is.
It's actually a deal breaker.
It is. Yeah.
You get the band on a wrong night. If Ursuline and Mooney's playing, and Poland and Canfield, and you know what, you ain't getting nobody.
Right.
You're not getting nobody. It's
So we have to
it's
plan
crazy
that.
in the Youngstown area that you have to plan around high school football.
Yeah.
Those 10 weeks between, the end of August and the beginning of November,
Yeah.
you got to plan around that.
So we did that on purpose.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But the gates open at 4 and they're going to have activities out in the parking lot all day. We are going to be playing from 8 to 11 that night in a big, huge tent out back. There's going to be, I'll tell you what, so far we've gotten such a great outpouring just on social media.
Yeah.
There's some clubs in Pittsburgh that are actually renting buses.
Oh, really?
And they're busing people
Oh,
in.
man.
We've had friends of ours that have moved out of town and they're like, we're flying in. We've already got our hotel rooms, So as a matter of fact, just yesterday, I had another friend from out of town say, we can't find any hotel rooms. They're sold out.
Yeah.
So listen, we're just excited.
Oh, that's going to be a party and a half, man.
We're
We're
all excited. We had a call on Sunday. We've been rehearsing on Sundays. And as Dave had said, we're still young enough to do this and get together.
Yes.
We don't know if it's ever going to happen again.
Right.
So I would love for it to happen again, but you never know. So this is a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Graphic Pink reunion. If you can make it, it's a free show too.
Yeah. Oh,
it's a free show.
Right.
So
this is going to be a great time. August 24th, Quaker Steak and Lube, the Graphic Pink reunion. Mm-hmm. That's going to be awesome. Coming up this Saturday night, we've got Woofstock with Rajma out there and Red Wanting Blue. Mm-hmm. Man, this is on, man. You know what? I gotta do whatever I can by hook or crook to be there on Saturday. Yeah. This is going to be a party.
Oh yeah,
and the music is going to be fantastic.
You come hang out with us in the green room.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
that sounds like a plan.
Because you know how Dr. Sue is.
Yes,
there'll be plenty of libations back there.
Right, exactly. Well, Rajma,
thanks.
brother, it is always good hanging out with you, and best of luck on your new music coming out. We can't wait to hear it. They can start finding that on Friday and just follow you on Facebook and everything. It'll be all over the place, I'm sure. I'll be sharing it. Look on my page if you can't find it anywhere. And it is just going to be an awesome time, man. So by hook or crook, I got to get out on Saturday.
Thanks again.
That's going to be a place to be Saturday night.
Absolutely.
And the Graphic Pink reunion is going to be off the hook. You know who else I'd like to see do a reunion? The Rage. I would love to see the Rage do a reunion too. That's somebody. That's somebody. The Graphic Pink and the Rage together would be like off the hook.
Super quick short story. So back in the day when Graphic Pink we were kind of getting to the end of the lifespan.
Yeah.
The guys in the Rage used to come out to our shows. Okay. And like 2 months later, we hear about this new band called The Rage. So we had a night off and we go out. They're literally playing our set list. Not only are they playing all the songs, they're playing them in the order that we played them. So, and of course we weren't mad. I mean, it's all cover stuff, right? And listen, back in those times, if a band that was doing what we were doing was being successful, that only meant that we were going to be successful too.
Right.
I'm always about supporting local bands.
Exactly.
So they go on a break. We cornered them and we're like, hey, we noticed that you're playing all this. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, we stole your set list and just learned it. I love those guys, man. I love those guys. Maybe we could get them. Maybe we could do one more Graphic Pink reunion and get the Rage.
That would be a lot of fun, man. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah, boy, I'll tell you what, we could probably next show we'll just go on about the late 80s, early 90s rock scene, man.
So many stories.
All the great times we had. Maybe we get Super Dave to call in.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever he may be.
I still talk to Dave.
Yeah, you do? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I talked to him maybe a couple months ago. It's weird because I can remember more of the funny shit that he did than he does.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be sitting there and go, well, what about this one? What about that one? Modelless Monday. When if you don't know Super Dave, back in the CD 106 days, they had the Beautiful Losers, Super Dave and Dana.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about them was they would always wind up getting in trouble. No matter what they would do, it would always turn to shit. No matter what would happen, they'd be going along like really good. And he'd be going, hey, this is really good. This is really funny. And then all of a sudden, they would just take this turn. And the next thing you know, people are like picketing the radio station and stuff, Dana's in jail or they're towing the car away. I remember the one time they were giving away this car called the Schlock Rod.
I remember
the Schlock Rod?
I
do.
It
was just this like piece of shit car. And they have the Schlock Rod. And somehow Chris Patrick was against it. She was like, I don't want to do this. And the station manager at the time, Dawn, was like, oh, no, Chrissy, this is going to be funny. Wait until you see they're giving it. It's called the Schlock Rod, and it's a beat-up car, and they're giving it away, and they're going to take it out to all these places. Well, I think it turned out like Dana didn't have a driver's license or something, and I'm pretty sure it was at the Lube in Sharon, and the Schlock Rod ends up getting towed away and stuff, and it was just like crazy, and it was just like, them guys would always do that. They had Motto-less Monday.
Oh yeah.
And every Monday they would have people call in with a different motto, and it'd just be something like just off the charts, And then they would select that, and that would be their motto the whole week. So every time they would crack the mic, they would do this stupid motto, whatever it was. And the one day they did the one short bus window lickers. And then that was it. You know what I mean?
No more motto Mondays.
This Monday was going along so good. And everybody was like, and then 3 Second Thursday. Remember they would do 3 Second Thursday.
You get 3 seconds.
Yeah, you had 3 seconds to just call in and say, actually Rivers kind of stole that idea with his radio graffiti on 570. But people would call in, and it was them guys, they had some funny stuff going on. I gotta admit. Oh no, there was no dump button back then.
No, that's true.
There was no such thing as a dump button back there. And people would call in and they would say the wildest stuff, and somebody would sing, and somebody and then it just got like there were regulars in there would just call up and say the same thing every week, and it might have not made sense. Or
I spent many days at that trailer.
We used to have a blast out there, Rajma, and I know he was in with Super Dave and Dana, and I'll tell you some of the stuff, but they would always, no matter what they would do, and they would, when they called themselves the Beautiful Losers, it was a true thing, because they really were. They were the Beautiful Losers. No matter what they did, no matter how good they tried to be, something would happen, or there's like, a bunch of bikers waiting outside a bar to beat up Dana or whatever would happen. And nothing would go smoothly. And that was the beauty of it. Mm-hmm. And I like Dave's philosophy on things was, he goes, it's not funny. That's what makes it funny. It's funny because it ain't. And it's like, you know what? That works for you guys. It really did. But boy, we had some good times with those guys too, man. All right, Rajma, listen, thanks for taking some time out, stopping by today. And one more time, Woofstock coming to Tiffany Manor, starts at 5 o'clock on Saturday. You're helping out the animals. You got Rajma, you got Red Wanting Blue, and then coming up on August 24th, the big graphic pink reunion at the Lube in downtown Sharon. We're going to take you back to those great days of the Magic Twanger and all those other great places, and the Lube and Three by the River and everything. So come on out and join us and check out Rajma's new music. That's coming out on Friday.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm amazed I remembered that.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook.